Okay, these are the materials that we bought that were relatively inexpensive to build a high tunnel to extend the gardening season for any gardener that is pursuing this type of structure. As you've seen, the 2-inch PVC pipes that will be later used for the arches, and various pieces of lumber that will be put together that was purchased at the local hardware store. The students are working with these materials and putting those together, which were pre-cut, ready to be put together in a 12 by 12 high tunnel structure. The pieces were prefabbed on the ends, is what they were putting together now, made out of 2x4s. They're joining those together with wood screws that will be stood up later on of putting the structure up. A cordless drill is being used, which is very handy in the construction or the assembly of these units. In a more permanent model, you would choose metal conduit drove into the ground to make a more permanent structure. Since it's a demonstration model, we chose to use PVC pipe mounted to our baseboards. In doing so, we needed to mount the baseboard up so that it wouldn't fall over with using corner brackets, metal strapping that we purchased at the local hardware store. This held everything square and held our corners true. Since we were using conduit for our temporary stands, we had to buy 2-inch conduit clamps to mount to our baseboard. This held these clamps up so that we would have something to put the arches down in to hold them upright. As you see highlighted in green, this is where the arch were placed. They were evenly placed along the baseboards to hold these stands. Again, I was saying that in a more permanent structure, you could drive it into the ground. In this particular model, we chose 1.5-inch Schedule 40 conduit, so it would fit in our 2-inch receptacle pipes that we mounted to our baseboard. We put two pieces together, and your arch length would depend on how wide your structure actually would be. We used 2 joints of conduit for this particular model since we only had a 12-foot width span to give us the correct height in our arches. And the center of where our joints went together, we used leg bolts because we wanted to put the bolts down through the other pieces of conduit that were working to hold our arches spacing, and we wanted that bolt to stick down through because in a more sophisticated, larger model you would want those bolts sticking through, so in the winter you could put timbers underneath of these bolts to help hold the snow load. Very easy way to put this smaller unit together all in one piece and raise it all at the same time. The students are now putting the units together in order to ask for help from the audience to lift this unit up to make its shape. They are finishing putting the nuts on the bottom of the bolts, so now it can be lifted into the air. With the hoops in the air, the only thing left really is to put your ends in, and we decided to put the ends of our high tunnel up with a framework of 2x4s. We left a door space in the middle and a studded wall that plastic could be tacked to on the sides to help allow light in. You want to leave your 2x4 spacing wide enough that the right amount of light can come in on the ends of your high tunnel, not only in the ceiling. We chose to use 2x4 bracing materials Just a small metal strapping, bought at the local hardware store, use wood screws to brace it together. Once it's put in place, then along with the plastic, we'll go down over the sides and help secure it to the hoops.